If you've clicked on a video about self-care as a toddler parent, chances are you can't remember the last time you peed alone or drank a hot coffee. And every time you do sit down, that voice shows up. You should be playing with them. The floor is a mess. Good mums don't need breaks. Today, I want to talk about realistic self-care with toddlers in the house and how to do it without drowning in guilt. No spa weekends, no perfect morning routines, just small things you can actually do on a random Tuesday. Let's start with the serious bit: your brain and your body. When parents take even small, regular steps to look after themselves, sleep, movement, a bit of mental downtime, their physical and mental health is better. That matters because when you are running on empty, everything feels harder. The tiny tantrum becomes a huge deal. The spilled water feels like personal betrayal. And by 4 p.m., you are one dropped spoon away from becoming a cave troll. One of the clearest patterns researchers keep seeing is that the less self-care parents practice, the higher their stress tends to be. And high stress is linked to less patience, more yelling, and a lower quality of family life. So self-care is not some extra little luxury you earn after every sock is folded and the kitchen is spotless. It is part of keeping the whole system from falling apart. There is also something bigger here. Parents' mental health has long-term effects on children's emotional health as they grow up. That does not mean you have to be calm and radiant every second of the day. Thank goodness, because that is not a real thing. It means your well-being matters, not just for you, but for the atmosphere your child lives in every day. If you like simple formulas, here is the one to remember. Less self-care leads to more stress, and more stress leads to worse parenting and worse long-term outcomes. That is not a guilt trip. That is just a reminder that taking care of yourself is part of taking care of your child. Now let's talk about the guilt beast, because for many parents, that is the real problem. A lot of us think, if I feel guilty, I must be doing something wrong. But guilt is not always a reliable alarm system. Sometimes it is just old expectations talking. A big part of burnout comes from pressure to be the perfect parent. Perfectly patient, perfectly available, perfectly tidy, perfectly educational, perfectly everything. That pressure can come from your own head, from social media, from family, from the general nonsense soup of modern parenting expectations. And honestly, that is exhausting. Your toddler does not need you to entertain them every minute. They need a parent who is mostly kind, mostly present, and not constantly one scream away from a nervous breakdown. That is the real goal. Not perfection, not performance, just a functioning human who can love a tiny, chaotic human without disappearing entirely in the process. So let's redefine self-care in a way that actually fits toddler life. When you hear self-care, you might picture candles, a bath, a face mask, maybe some yoga video where everyone is suspiciously calm. Lovely idea. Very unrealistic on a Tuesday afternoon with a toddler who has decided sleep is an insult. For this stage of life, self-care is much simpler than that. It is basic maintenance. Enough sleep where possible. Simple food, a bit of movement, and a few moments where your mind gets to switch off. It is emotional breathing space. 5 or 10 minutes where nobody is climbing on you, touching you, needing snakes from you, or asking where the blue cup is for the 16th time. And it is boundaries. Being able to say, I need a break, without feeling like you have to write a paragraph of explanation and apology first. That is the heart of it. Self-care is not about becoming a new person. It is about staying connected to the person you already are. So what does that look like in real life? First, the 5-minute version. This is for the days when your life is basically a fire drill with snacks. Have a phone-free coffee. Put your toddler in the high chair with a safe snack or a toy. Set a 5-minute timer and sit down with your drink before it becomes cold. Do not scroll. Do not start wiping the counter. Just sit there and drink it while it is still warm. That counts. Another one, the closed bathroom break. If another adult is home, say it out loud. I'm going to the bathroom alone for 5 minutes. Then close the door. Wash your face slowly. Stretch your shoulders. Take 3 deep breaths. It is ridiculous that this feels like a luxury, but here we are. Or put on one song you actually like and move around while your toddler plays nearby. Stretch. Walk in circles. Sway like a confused rock star in your kitchen. It does not need to be a workout. It just needs to remind your body that it exists too. Then there is the 10 to 15-minute version. If you can find a tiny bit more room, use it well. Wake up 10 minutes before your toddler, or stay up 10 minutes after they sleep. Not to clean, not to answer messages, just to read, journal, drink tea, or stare out the window like a person in a very soft commercial. You can also create a contained chaos break. That means your toddler is somewhere safe, with a gate closed or a baby-proofed room, and you are nearby but not actively on duty every second. Maybe you sit with a podcast. Maybe you sit in silence. Maybe you just let your brain breathe for a few minutes. That also counts. And then there is one of the most underrated forms of self-care: texting a friend. Send one honest message. Today was tough. Tell me something silly your kid did. That tiny moment of connection can do a lot. It reminds you that you are not the only one finding this hard. Because sometimes the stress is not even just the toddler. It is the feeling that everyone else is handling life better than you are. Spoiler, they are not. If possible, build in one weekly off-duty slot. Not a maybe if everything goes perfectly slot, a real slot. 1 or 2 hours where a partner, co-parent, grandparent or trusted person takes over and you do something that fills you back up. A walk, a nap, coffee with a friend, sitting in a park without anyone asking for a snack every 4 minutes. Beautiful. And yes, these things look small. That is the point. Small is what toddler parents can actually do. Now let's deal with the guilt when it shows up in the moment. Because even after you make the time, the guilt may still sit next to you on the couch like an annoying relative. You finally sit down and immediately think, I should be doing something useful. Or, other mums don't need this. Or, my child will be damaged if I take 5 minutes for myself. Try this 3-step script. First, name it. This is guilt, not a fact. Second, check it. Is my child safe and cared for right now? If the answer is yes, then this is not an emergency. Third, reframe it. This break helps me be calmer and kinder later. This is good parenting. That is the part many parents need to hear again and again. You are not being lazy. You are not failing. You are building a little bit of margin so you do not snap every time someone drops yogurt on the floor. You can even say it to your toddler in simple language. Mama is going to sit and drink coffee for a few minutes. Then we play. That is healthy. That is normal. That is actually useful for them to see. Because one day they will grow up and learn that adults have needs too, and that taking a break is not the same thing as abandoning people. If your brain is still saying, I do not have time for self-care. I want to gently flip that around. You do not have time not to. Burnout costs you much more time in tears, arguments, and emotional exhaustion than a 5-minute break ever will. So here is your tiny homework from your internet neighbour. Choose one 5-minute thing from this video and try it today. Not 10 things, not a total life overhaul, just one. A warm coffee, a closed bathroom door, one song, one text to a friend, one tiny moment that belongs to you. You are not a bad parent for needing a break. You are a human raising a human. And when you take care of yourself, you are taking better care of them too.